Mishmash! Kitbash Corner!
Yeah, today we're bringing back the Space Marine painting and kitbashing series with the Rainbow Warriors. Yes, I know they didn't win the poll last time, but the Celestial Lions are actually giving me quite a bit of trouble. But, yeah, that's more because the bits I ordered are just not showing up. But regardless, I think this will satiate your Space Marine desires in the meantime. The Rainbow Warriors are one of my favorite chapters in 40k due to their weird history and just overall identity crisis. And today I'm adding on to this, as I am not going for the fan canon Mesoamerican style nor the traditional rogue trader art style, but rather I have taken inspiration from my love of 80s anime and Japanese wrestling. But before we get into all that good stuff, please make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and do share it with a friend. And if you really dig it, please consider becoming a channel member. For just $3 a month, you get to see my videos early, and for $5, you get access to a weekly Q&A in which you can showcase your models and I'll give them a little review. You also get access to exclusive roles and channels within the Mishmash Discord, and overall it just really helps me out. Just want to say a huge thank you to my channel members. You guys are amazing. Also, if you're interested in anything Wargames Atlantic related, especially Quar and Last War, you can use my affiliate link down below, and you can use my discount code MISHMASH5% to save 5% on your purchase. But enough of the promotional stuff. I think it's about time we talk about the mysterious and convoluted history of the Rainbow Warriors. Now, the Rainbow Warriors are an original. Being one of the original chapters in the Rogue Trader magazine, they started out as a successor of the Ultramarines, which makes sense, they're kind of blue. But their lore is far more complex than being a simple Ultramarine successor. Hailing from the homeworld of Prism, these guys are more than meets the eye already. So next to their homeworld is a redacted planet, and the only other piece of art that's official depicting a Rainbow Warrior is Brother Vermilion getting his ass blasted. By a Sisters of Battle, no less. Like with literally everybody else that's made a video on the Rainbow Warriors, we all kind of come to the same conclusion, as there's just not a lot of lore to go off of. Something they turn to chaos, something they don't exist anymore, something Trazen has one for some reason. But what I've always found interesting about the Rainbow Warriors is they're basically a dichotomy of fanon and canon. Sure, you have other chapters like this, but I would say Rainbow Warriors are the most interesting. The amount of lore that's been made by the fan base to fill in just exactly what these guys are all about is why I love wargaming to begin with. Theories of the elusive missing Primarchs to being nothing more than a renegade chapter that's been laid to waste. An expansive array of different cultures and art styles that depict these guys and what they may have been like is very interesting to me. And that's why today I really wanted to go with something that feels very different from what everybody else is doing. The idea of an 80s mecha-style Marine is something that I only think the Rainbow Warriors are capable of fitting the bill for. The scheme, the name, hell, the prismatic and rainbow-esque weapons that they use for their plasma guns. Every time I see the art depicting these guys, I instantaneously think of the Voltron theme. Sure, it may not make sense thematically or canonically, but then again, they're not canon, so eh. Plus, I could see it fitting in with the popular belief that they are influenced by Tzeentch. I suppose in my head, I always like to think of it as a similar case to the Soul Drinkers. They simply think that their corruption is just gifts from the Emperor. But then again, I'm always looking to fill in the gaps for headcanon stuff, so comment down below, let me know what you think. But now that I've given you a little rundown on the Rainbow Warriors, I think it's about time we switch gears to the kitbashing. So as far as kitbashing the figure, it's pretty simplistic, but it's very effective. The biggest thing that I wanted to add to this guy was one of the helmets from the Ravenwing Command Squad set. The one with these amazing wings. It's befitting of an anime over-the-top bombastic design, but on top of this, beaky helmets are just more befitting to Rainbow Warriors in my opinion. I've painted one with a Mark 7 helmet before, but the longer snout allows for more free-handing that rainbow design. I mean, to be fair, they were designed originally as beakies, so it makes sense. For his first arm, I'm planning on giving him a plasma gun, but I would have to remove the main hands, and I would fit on this veteran pauldron from the old Sternguard set. As you can see, I kind of struggled to get all these pieces in place, but that was mostly due to my lack of actually planning things out and being impatient. Should also mention too, the body is one of the newer Sternguard Primaris bodies. This is actually one that I kitbashed before, but I ultimately decided to kind of cannibalize him and turn him into something different, which I'm glad I did. For his other arm, I would actually use a Primaris arm, but I would clip the hand off and give him one of the tactical firstborn hands. This way he can hold on to the plasma gun, and I believe this plasma gun comes from the Sternguard Veterans kit as well. Since the Rainbow Warriors are known for their prismatic plasma guns, I figured giving them a very upgraded one would be befitting. Though you'll see later on that I would later regret adding this addition, but I don't know. I kind of went through peaks and valleys of loving and hating this figure. But I'm happy with the end result. Regardless, getting this hand and all these little pieces in place was something that took a lot of patience. There's a lot of fiddly parts, and when you're using Tamiya, or Sprugu for that matter, things don't just instantaneously line up like it would with superglue. I really had to be patient, and getting the hand to fully adhere required a good helping of Sprugu. Thankfully, over time it would dry, and it's not even noticeable on the finished figure. It is kind of a messy job, and sure, I probably could have gone about this a lot smarter than I did, but I don't know. Results are results. It is what it is. Though, I will tell you now, it did take a lot of drive-bys. It's one of those things that no matter what you do, no matter how you slice it, it just takes time, and that's usually how it goes when building something. Now for his other pauldron, I decided to use one of the old Mark III pauldrons, as the veteran pauldron is essentially an old Mark III, just missing the lower trim. I don't know, this one did feel a little weird. I'm sure I could have found a different bit that would have fit better, but overall, I just like how it looks. These studs allow for some interesting designs, and I don't know, I can't really complain, it worked out in the end. Now for his backpack, this is where I don't really know what I was doing, I just decided to give him an old Mark III. Part of me kind of wishes I gave him one of the new Corvus pattern backpacks, but I guess it is very reminiscent to a lot of the mecha anime that I grew up with in terms of just bombastic and cool design for the sake of design. Very reminiscent of Macross. See, this is why I am not consistent at all with keeping the same theme for the channel. I have too many interests. But with that final little detail, the figure is fully kitbashed to my liking. So I think it's about time I show you the painting process, or at least snippets of it. I will say, you guys may disagree with me on this, but I don't really care. Rainbow Warriors make lamenters feel like a breeze. And yes, admittedly, part of that is my own fault because I bit off more than I could chew, as I will end up freehanding the symbol, freehanding the paint job on the helmet, and creating the prismatic glow on the plasma gun. But it's really just a combination of all of these things together that makes it such a difficult scheme to pull off. If one thing is out of place, everything is out of place. And that's why these guys are not exactly a chapter I want to revisit. But I love them, so I probably will. Regardless, the main blue I used is a combination of blue and dark purple from Proacryl. The wings and basically all the white on the armor, as well as the symbol, are a combination of ghost gray and a bunch of highlights using some pure pulled titanium white. Sketching out the symbol is definitely one of the harder elements of this model, as the symbol is a little bit more difficult for some of the newcomers, I think. Thankfully, however, the blue is really easy to clean up as you're using white. Honestly, you really don't have to be a grandmaster at freehand to make this symbol look good. It's just a matter of how much time it takes. If you're better at freehanding, then it won't take as long, but you're working with white paint. Thankfully, like I said, the blue is really easy to cover up your mistakes. Especially after trying to freehand the Marines' Malevolent symbol in the last episode, I've had more than enough time to practice this symbol in particular. This is a little bit more easy in some ways, as painting black over yellow is a lot less forgiving. But there are also different renditions of the symbol that are even simpler than this, so do what you like. Now, once I was happy with the symbol, we'll have to use white yet again to begin sketching out the markings on the helmet. Ghost Gray is a good start, as really a lot of these colors are very bright. And it's really kind of an easy color to just paint onto the blue. It worked well for the symbol, so I decided to use it for the rest of the helmet. It does take a good couple coats to get an opaque finish, but at the same time, like I said, we can paint over this very easily. Really, when it comes down to it, like I said earlier, painting this on a Beaky is a lot more difficult than painting it on a Mark 7 helmet. Again, I just don't think the Mark 7 helmet feels befitting of the Rainbow Warriors, but, you know, that's just me. Now, once our Ghost Gray is fully dry, I'd begin applying some Imperial Fist over the entirety of the faceplate. Doing the entire thing is a little bit easier for me. Painting the entire mask allows for some mess up, and you're probably gonna mess this up the first time. But for the green, I decided to use Wild Green from the Army Painter. I've seen a lot of different renditions of the green, sometimes it's barely noticeable, but I think using this bright neonish green really made it stand out all the more. We have very rich primary colors, so a rich green just makes sense. I will say, I'm really happy with how opaque this paint is, as if I used a little bit of Pro Acryls green, I think I would have had a lot more trouble. Now for the part that really sucks is painting the red, and for this I used burnt red. I kinda wish I used a different color, however, this dries a lot darker than it looks now, and I kinda would recommend you just use Mephiston red. Either way, this color flows nicely, and once I have two thin coats, it still looks quite cool. It's just that this color is really what kind of makes this a difficult part to paint. Messing up red over yellow is just impossible to clean up without a lot of effort, and I cleaned this up aplenty off screen. The key is keeping things symmetrical, and once I was happy with the red finally, I would paint the middle stripe. This part kinda sucks, but this is really where things make or break, and if you don't have it completely centered, it does look a little awkward. I'm telling you, man, this scheme is brutal. At least with Lamenter's checkers, you can get away with a little bit of paint scraping without it looking weird. But once I was happy with the faceplate, I would go back in on all my white colors with bold titanium white, this being the plasma gun grills, and I would add some more detail to the symbol. This just makes things pop out a little bit more. Now for the next thing of freehand, I'm giving a little tribute to one of my favorite wrestlers. If it ain't obvious from the edits, I love Jushin Thunder Liger. He is undoubtedly my favorite Japanese wrestler of all time, and I decided to embroider the Thunda of his name onto the pauldron of the Space Marine. Or I suppose Tunda. It's honestly kind of weird because you don't really see a lot of different languages being used on Space Marines, and I will say I kind of wish I used a different pauldron that looked a little bit more futuristic. But at the same time, I think I kind of gave it the look of Japanese text, which would undoubtedly be dubbed over with English text, so maybe that's a little copium, I don't know, I thought it looked kind of cool. But now for an additional part that I frickin' hated doing, I'm painting the plasma gun. This was a journey. You didn't see it, I'm not gonna show all of it, because there's so much extra footage of it, but I messed this up 8 billion times, because how the hell do you make a ever-flowing prismatic plasma gun? Well, this is how I tried. I essentially used almost all of Army Painter's plasma gun paints to create a slight gradient along the grills. This kind of worked, kind of, not really. The key is really to let it dry and then slowly add each color in conjunction with the next and kind of allow it to bleed into one another. Really, the main hurdles were a few factors. One, I didn't have the yellow paint from Army Painter, and I didn't think to get it until after I finished the model. Two, it really is difficult to blend these colors together convincingly. But third, and the biggest factor, this one might shock you, it's the purity seal. The purity seal is actually molded into the grills of the plasma gun, and as a result, every time I used a very thinned down paint, it would leak down the purity seal and completely bleed out all the colors. It really was frustrating. And honestly, you can probably guess that this was hard to capture on camera because there were so many little mess ups and I was constantly going back in to fix things. The colors worked out pretty decently. I know it looks like a popsicle, but I mean, I don't know. For what it's worth, I think I was doomed from the start giving him a plasma gun. Though I will say, I am pretty proud of myself for trying while Rogue Hobbies is the face of Rainbow Warriors and couldn't paint the plasma. Oh, I'm grinning ear to ear because I feel like such a dick saying that I can't even joke about it. Evil mean jokes aside, I will say there was an experimental thing I tried to make the plasma kind of work a little bit better, and that was to use metal medium from Vallejo. Metal medium in its own right is something I think is overlooked quite a bit in the hobby. I've used it before to create some very astonishing satin effects on dresses. I thought maybe adding this would add a sparkly and luminescent look to the plasma, and it kind of worked, but it looks a little awkward. But maybe that's an experiment I'll try again, even though I said I don't want to paint these guys again. I love the Rainbow Warriors, how can I not? Now that final detail, I think this is one of those Marines that I'm really happy with, but I think there's a lot of things that could have been done differently to make them better. Regardless, this has been a chapter I've been wanting to paint in Kitbash for a long time, so I'm kinda happy to finally do it regardless. And I hope you enjoyed it. Usually I like to have at least 2 Marines per episode, but this one was so much work I just had to do 1. And considering Adepticon is slowly approaching, and I'm gonna be there, some corners needed to be cut, as I have a whole army that I'm still painting. But hey, if you liked what you saw, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to tell me any other chapters that you want to see. I do read the comments, and there are some very interesting chapters that I am interested in painting. There's a lot to go through, and yes, I'm still working on the Bad Ab War, but there's still plenty of time before that happens. Hey, I'm definitely flapping my beak enough for one video, so like always, remember to mishmash, kitbash, and paint some fantastic miniatures. And you're gonna. I promise. See ya.